Welcome to today's lesson on telephone etiquette. We're going to start this lesson with a phone call horror story that a patient shared on Reddit.
I called my dermatologist's office with a question I had for the doctor. They said they would call me back in 30 minutes, or I could just call back later since the doctor was at lunch. Later that day, I noticed that I missed their call. So I called back, but no one picked up. So I waited like 30 minutes and called again. This time, the girl who picked up shouted, "Can you stop calling here? The doctor isn't here. Why do you keep calling?" I told her I missed the phone call. I was just calling back about my medication. "Well, he's not here, okay? Bye." Then she hung up on me.
Obviously, this is the type of situation that none of us would like to experience. Not only do situations like this cause patient frustration, but as evidenced by the fact that this patient wrote this in an online public forum, situations like this can damage your practice's reputation. Let's get started with some telephone etiquette best practices. The first, and most basic, is to answer the phone promptly. Answering within 2 to 3 rings is preferable. If you happen to be assisting another patient at the time, acknowledge them briefly before answering the phone. For example, "Excuse me for just a moment." In just a few minutes, we'll go into greater detail about how to manage assisting multiple patients at once. For offices with multiple phone lines, find out how the responsibilities for answering the phone are shared among those working at the front. In smaller practices, it's often simply a matter of whoever is available to pick up the phone. But especially in larger clinics, well-established protocols may be in place which are meant to evenly distribute the responsibility among staff members. Some clinics may even have a system in place to roll over calls to an answering service after so many rings. So be sure to find out who is responsible for answering the phones in your practice, as well as whether your practice utilizes any answering services, which can assist should there be excess call volume at any one time. Next, identify yourself and the clinic. Start each call with clear identification. This generally includes stating your name, along with your practice name, and can include stating your practice location should your clinic offer more than one location for patients to be seen. For example, "Thank you for calling Palm Valley Dermatology, St. Augustine location. This is Kristen. How can I help you today?" Including your location is particularly important to prevent confusion in practices which offer multiple locations. We're actually going to come back to this topic in just a few minutes, as there are some challenges which can occur specifically in practices that offer multiple locations. Speak clearly and professionally. The words you say, as well as how you say them, are the caller's first and sometimes only impression of you. Speak at a moderate pace. Remember, you may be overwhelmed with work and be tempted to rush through the conversation. But some patients are older and may have a hard time understanding you if you speak too fast. Use a friendly, welcoming tone. Avoid medical jargon that may confuse patients. If a caller seems confused, don't assume that they simply didn't hear you. They may not have understood what you said because of the way you said it. So when this happens, rephrase what you say rather than simply repeating what you said. A tip for determining the best volume and tone for speaking on the phone would be to imagine you're speaking to the patient in person. If they were there in front of you, you would speak at a moderate volume in a warm yet professional tone. That's also how you should speak to them on the phone. Listen actively. Engage fully in the conversation by avoiding distractions, such as typing, browsing screens, or shuffling papers. Take brief notes to avoid asking patients to repeat information. Summarize details. For example, "Just to confirm, you'd like an appointment with Dr. Spencer next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Is that correct?" These small details not only ensure that you receive accurate information, but also lets the patient know that you're paying attention to the information they're providing. Show empathy. Patients may call with urgent or sensitive concerns. Speaking with an empathetic tone helps ease their worries. Never dismiss concerns or rush the caller. If a patient is frustrated about appointment availability, acknowledge their concern. For example, "I understand how important it is to be seen quickly. Let me check if we have a wait list or earlier options available." Provide accurate information. Always verify details before sharing them with the patient. Avoid saying "I think" or "I'm pretty sure," as that can make the patient question the accuracy of the information you're providing. For example, if you're asked a question and you really aren't sure of the answer, you might say, "I want to be sure I provide the correct information, so let me check on that for you." Which brings us to the next best practice of being a patient advocate. Offer assistance and solutions to patients. If a caller's request cannot be resolved immediately, set a clear time frame for when they can expect you to provide the requested information, and ensure you follow through. Use positive language. How you phrase things impacts how the patient perceives any given conversation. Sometimes the difference between positive and negative language can be subtle. Consider the difference between saying, "I can't schedule you until next month," as opposed to, "The first appointment we have available is next month, but I'd be happy to add you to our wait list in case something opens up sooner." The former statement focuses on the negative by describing what you can't do for the patient, whereas the latter